Statement of Joseph Arcturo regarding the murders of Alan Tulloch and Elizabeth Wren. Original statement made May 19th, 2019. Audio recording by Jack Scribson, Head Archivist of the Magnus Institute, London. Statement begins. I've been going airsofting with Alan Tulloch, Elizabeth Wren, and Zev Starr for 5 years now. Every Sunday we'd go out into the woods where we'd build forts in the trees with all our gear and spend a few hours, usually about 3 or 4, shooting each other for fun. I feel the need to reiterate that we've been doing this for 5 years, and we've been friends much longer, since we were kids. It happened 2 weeks ago now, on the 5th. We all got together, agreed on a grace period, our usual 20 minutes, and split up. It took 30 minutes for me to hear gunshots, and I grabbed my pistol, prepare for combat. I prefer pistols over rifles because I find them more maneuverable. That and gunning someone down with a pistol feels more action hero-y than spraying and praying. I used a high CAPA 5.1 government model because, as a minimum wage phone call operator for the government, my airsoft budget wasn't exactly stratospheric, but I still wanted something that looked and felt like a real model. Anyway, it took another 5 minutes before Alan came around the corner and opened fire. I dove behind my barricade and returned fire. It was as exhilarating as it always was, and by the time Alan declared he'd been hit, my heart was racing like I'd just run a marathon. Apparently, I was the last man standing, so we all reconvened in the centre to discuss tactics. We had a tournament the week after, so we were practicing. After the break, we broke back up, reloaded, and got ready for another round. It took an hour for me to get suspicious. I hadn't heard any shots, footsteps, or voices, and I hadn't seen anyone. I was almost ready to start calling out to see if they'd all left me as some kind of prank when I heard the scream. Knowing it was Liz, I started running. Legs burning, I could barely believe what I saw when I found them. It was like some B-roll horror movie. One made for a film jam or a student film. There was blood everywhere, and Zev was stood over them, covered in what I could only assume was Liz and Al's blood. They'd been ripped open, slaughtered. Zev's gun was deconstructed to the side, as if she had methodically made the decision to take it apart and use her bare hands. Alan and Elizabeth's guns were cast aside, still in one piece. I should have ran. I should have got out of there. Instead, I screamed, bellowed like some wild animal, and charged. I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe I wasn't. Whatever was or wasn't going on in my skull, I went to wrestle Zev to the ground, and that's when I realized this wasn't Zev. Not anymore. Her eyes, there was something animalistic in them, and her ears were elongated, almost like a wild rabid dog. It was when she ripped my face open that I noticed her nails were like claws. Diamond tough and razor strong, I made peace with the fact that I would die there. Alan's rapid-fire pistol hit my head as I fell backwards, and with the last of my strength, I grabbed it and emptied the magazine. Or rather, I meant to empty the magazine. By the time this point, there were only 3-4 bullets left in it. Alan must have tried the same tactic. I don't know if it was luck or if some higher entity was watching over me, but I hit her in the eye, and I think by sheer reflex she let me go. I ran. God knows I ran as fast as I could. The police had questions, of course. Why wouldn't they? But, well, they sent me here. Can you help? Statement ends. I find their request for aid odd, considering they had to write their statement down and didn't speak to anyone. Regardless, the statement notes say that no follow-up was conducted. This is gross misconduct, as this is quite clearly the actions of one of the entities. Most likely the slaughter, given the seeming randomness of the attack, although it is possible that the hunt had been stalking this group of friends for a while, making them a suspect. The fact that Miss Starr didn't consume the individuals excludes the flesh from the roster. I'll send Alice and Martin to conduct a follow-up interview. Hopefully the years won't have dampened the experience. Addendum. Joseph Arcturo died in prison 6 months ago. He was found with his chest cavity ripped open. Alice says Martin took over an hour to stop throwing up. He's a soft soul, but sometimes that really gets in the way of investigations. The PD have refused to let us investigate, meaning that we have hit a dead end. Further thought onto the statement, however, brings a curious note of Mr. Arcturo's use of the word entity. Is it possible he knew more about the metaphysicality of our realm and the entities than he should have? That would explain why they might have come back to finish the job. Damn it! If Ikathon had kept his files in better order, we could have gotten to Arcturo sooner and possibly learnt more about this statement. But as it stands, there's nothing more we can do. Just another loose end in the archive. End addendum.